23 years we pray hard that our relative and friend is released from prison. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to hear that he has been in jail, in prison for 48 years. It's really hard. And we could just imagine what it's like for him to be sitting in his cell that's 4 by 6. Somebody else is making decisions for him. He has to, the jailers, the police, they're the ones that are telling him what to do, how to do it, where to do it. And that's really hard. He shouldn't be there at all. I know that the defense committee has been working hard with the lawyers to try to find remedies, ways to help him, ways to get him out, ways. But he believed this way. I'm going to talk briefly that back in 1970, 71, 72, there was havoc here on this reservation. There was injustices going on where people's land were taken. And so the Natchez met at Calico. There were 12 of 13 Natchez chiefs that came together. And they had a meeting and they were getting people's affidavits, their petitions, notarized so they could go to Washington and have that Attorney General investigate the illegal taking of their land as well as other issues, health, education, other welfare programs. And so at that time, 3 things were going on. One, the people were taking this position, the traditionalists. The second issue was our boys were coming back from the war, Vietnam. The third issue was the Vista workers were here on the reservation helping the elderly across the reservation. And they're the ones that were going and finding out why this land was illegally taken. And in the process, the tribal administration went and started beating them up, hitting them, hurting them. And so the Chas were concerned about this. They were concerned about all this injustice that was going on. So they heard of these boys, these young men and women out on the West Coast, and they invited them. They sent for them. The Natchez did, the elderly, the traditionalists sent for these young men to come here and help with these investigations. They brought them, they came, they talked to them, they sat them down in the center, and they asked them for help. They asked them for help. And at that time, the Natchez sent for Stanley, who brought Pteskawi, the pipe, to this meeting, and they smoked it. There was a covenant that was made that day. And so, these boys came, Russell, Dennis, the Valcourt brothers, and including Leonard. They came because they were invited. They came to help fight for the cause, to fight for the injustices, the inequality, people getting hurt, people getting killed. They came to help. And that's why we, the Oyate, we stand here, we stand in this circle and remind you of what took place at that time. And we want to remind you that we're getting old, some of us are getting older. We're getting older and we need these young people to step up, to learn this history, to learn what took place. Because the fight isn't over. The fight isn't over, it's still going on today. And I hate to bring this up, but you know, Leonard is probably hearing about this news in prison, but these things that are going on, the Supreme Court just made a ruling. And it's going to affect all of our women, all of our women and our grandchildren and their children. But this judge stood up and he said there shouldn't be this same marriage. There shouldn't be these things going on. And so it's a matter of time before they start picking on us again. They're going to start bothering us and they're going to challenge this tribe. The IRA is under the United States Constitution. It's going to take the treaty. It's going to take the treaty. Those traditionalists that stand, it's going to take them to stand up and fight for the people, to fight for the rights. With the treaty, it's nation to nation. It's not about these issues that are going on the reservation, even though they're concerning. The treaty is nation to nation. And we need to remember that. But we need to get our young people involved and to help them understand how important this is and how the struggle is here. It hasn't left. My daughter said to me, it was kind of sad to hear this. My daughter said to me, Dad, remember back in the 70s? Remember the fights that took place? Well, it's going back to the same way. It's going back to the same way because there are 13 families across this reservation that want that power, control, and they don't want. The people are used with their numbers. They get the funding. I think that we need to take a stand, and that's what Leonard was here for. He took a stand on behalf of the people. He didn't care who they were. He fought for the people. And so did the other people that we're honoring today. And again, at the Jumping Bull property, we're going to say some prayers for them. And I believe that in one in particular, chokecherry juice was brought and washed up. So we're going to feed them in a good way. I remember Leonard, and he was the spiritual advisor for the movement back at the occupation. I remember Mr. Balcourt. I heard him talk. I heard him visit, and he stood his ground. He stood his ground at sovereignty. Self-determination. I also remember Tommy. Tommy left us. And I wish he had made different decisions, but he made the choice at the time. And it's sad that Tom Poorbear's gone. Tahanshi. I have another Tahanshi standing over here, and another Tahanshi. It's sad. It's sad. So the fight continues on, and in this circle, I want you to hear the spirit. Hear, feel the spirit. Our people are still in need. Our women and children are still in need. And the only way it's going to happen is if one or two of you or all of us together take a stand. Take a stand. Being radical is you say no to the group. That's what being a radical is. Being an activist, say no. And they're going to hate you. They're going to say, oh, Maya, hey, Daku Shicha Kua. That's being a radical and an activist. And all of you are fighting for something. All of you are fighting for something. We just need to get the word out. There's so many issues facing us today. But today, we want to remember our relative and friend, Leonard. So we're going to send a prayer to the spirits, the universe, that he's blessed with health, the cycle of life, but more especially that they can give us direction on what to do to get him out of there. He's an elderly now. They shouldn't be treating him like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and sing one prayer song. Do a quick prayer, and Dave's here, so Dave could do the prayer. We have a drum group, and